Yo, 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 we are back! Sorry about that little pause. We are going to jump straight back in to have a look at the play that we watched just before everything went down, but we're going to watch it in crisp 4K. I mean, it's probably 1080p, but there we go. That's just going to be the kill that we saw previously. We're still here with the Nativz versus Bulldog promotion relegation match. And things, so far, looking so good right here for Bulldog.
And in the meantime, Nativz are just starting the attack, and I think this is the correct call. The enemy junglers showed on bot side. You just take
Yep,
this objective.
immediately.
Atakan is just really good, in my opinion. There's not really a reason why you should never rush it or try and get it as early as you can. It guarantees every single flower you get on the map. Every kill is an extra flower, which is extra adaptive power and XP.
Yep,
And the
so strong.
explosion on kill is just really strong.
Oh,
But as we see here, Sharpie Volt is just dead.
immediately,
He,
just insta dies. That's really unfortunate right here because as Bulldog, you're doing pretty well for yourselves. You pick up the kill in the bot lane, you pick up the tier 2 tower in the bot lane. Yes, you lose Atakan, not ideal, but I'd still say you're coming out of this one relatively even. The Atakan, as you're saying, Harold, gets a little bit stronger as you're moving on into the game, but isn't necessarily going to be the biggest power spike right here, right now. But giving over that kill in the top lane, just putting extra gold, extra power into the back pockets of one of these key Nativz carries, not ideal to see.
Yeah, it puts money in the pocket of Point, who has been on point.
Wow. Wow, Harold.
Coming back from the break, and this is what it does to a color caster, not being able to yap for long enough. But as we are getting back into the game, second item is almost coming through for every major carry. It's the Manamune completed on the Ezreal. It's the Sundered Sky completed for the Wukong. The Horizon Focus completed for both the Ahri and the Nilly. And Sharpie picks up a Sterak's. Now this is scary because this guy is going to be able to run through the team fight with about 3 health bars worth of HP
Yep.
and just keep making it possible. But okay, I thought you could be able to go for the trade, and he ends up doing. But I don't think he wants to burn too much. But as we see, Domini is making the trades hurt. It's making the poke hurt.
Yeah.
This is the power of the Ambessa. Doesn't need to necessarily all in you. She can just
Yeah.
poke you down.
Yeah. I mean, look at the item difference, right? You're down by a full item at this point, and yet still able to step up, able to do a bit of trading. Is now going to be the Drake started up right here. Bulldog are on top of this one, but TP's coming in as well. Potentially a big flank right here out of Sharpie. Through comes that Nature's Grasp. Sharpie on a big, long loop around. It is going to be the Drake picked up right here for Nativz, and they're going to engage the fight. Sharpie now going to arrive into the backline and start cutting through people. The initial couple of kills do go over to Bulldog, and they're going to be able to just run through Nativz right here. The remaining members scattered to the four corners, just have to sprint back to their tower. A brilliant flank there out of Sharpie. Great flash forwards into the charm, going to result in another kill. Some stuns on the tower means that Sharpie goes low, but he's just about going to be able to survive. And this is a massive teamfight win right here for Bulldog.
A good team fight win, but they do end up dropping the dragon. It is a 3-for-1 at the end of the day. Almost a 3-for-2 as Sharpie almost goes a bit too deep even with the Sterix available. But this is the issue that we've seen running up for Bulldog. You're taking these fights, you seem to be winning these fights. You have the slight gold lead, and yet on the side of Nativz, you do pick up the objective. You don't
Yeah.
even consider the mid tier one. You would assume at this point, after winning a fight 3-for-0, you would be able to just push down the turret in the mid lane. But no, you overextend, you overaggress for one kill, and the siege doesn't come through. The Zaya is able to get the pullback. You get another kill, and props to Bulldog for making the fight happen.
Yeah.
But it needs to be a little bit more than this. It needs to be a little more handbraking, as we were saying earlier on.
Exactly. They're not quite able to push the advantages that they pick up for themselves quite as well as a lot of the other teams that we've seen. That's partly why Bulldog weren't able to have quite as successful of a split as they would have been hoping for. But still, I'm pretty happy with the way that they've been able to play this one. We talk a lot about how Bulldog are great for the first 6-7 minutes. Sometimes they even make it to 12 minutes and they've still got an advantage. This is double that. We're 24 minutes into this game and they do have that gold lead and they aren't massively far down in terms of the neutral objectives. They managed to pick themselves up a couple of the towers as well. They've put themselves into a decent spot in this game. Obviously, there's still options right here for Nativz to get themselves back into it, but Still, with a composition like Nativz has, where they don't have this straight up 5v5 or skirmishing power to quite the same degree as Bulldogs, it is going to be hard for Nativz to get themselves back into this game. They're going to maybe have to rely on picks potentially from this Nidalee to maybe get themselves into 4v5 situations, which will make it easier to play out these team fights.
Yeah, I think the Nidalee is the kind of the well, the Nidalee and the Maokai are the two big tools that this composition has on the side of Nativz, where you're trying to make something happen. You're gonna use that long range CC, that long range poke, to try and set up the fight and make it go in your favor. But on the other side, there's so much committal and so much target access on the side of Bulldog that it is difficult to just say and try and sack and make that situation happen where you're making the pick happen, you're making the aggressive play, you're making that one pick off right before the fight. But there is one added value on the side of the Nativz comp. It's the saplings. The saplings are doing so much in terms of vision control, vision denial, and map knowledge on the
Mm-hmm.
side of Nativz, where they can trade back on the side on other sides of the map without necessarily having to be on that side of the map, just because
Yep.
the amount of knowledge the saplings are able to give you. And the Zaya is now 3 items.
Yes, that was the other point I was going to make. When we're talking about things that might be able to carry Nativz through to a victory, Moo definitely going to be one of the most important parts. 3 items completed with those flicker blades, just gonna be able to throw out these feathers so ridiculously quickly and hitting like an absolute truck as well. It's very much gonna be on Moo to be able to survive through these early bits of engage out of the Bulldog roster, right? When Tacos and Sharpie comes flying into the backline, or Kakashi is going for that big hook potentially, or maybe even a charm coming through out of Faulty. There's a lot of threats to this Sire's life. Obviously, with the Featherstorm, you've got a little bit of extra survivability, but you don't want to be blowing that one too quickly on because there are so many different threats, and you need that spaceport in front of you to be able to kite out, to be able to actually deal any of that damage. Oct and Shy, maybe even Dalbany, should be able to provide that decently, but with so many threats available to Bulldog, it does just feel like it's going to be quite hard to play out these team fights. I mean, we saw it, right, in that previous Drake fight.
Yeah, we saw Sharpie also finding amazing flank with the deep port on the Krugs, just able to find the space, and it finds the dive together with Tacos. But as we see here, there's a bit of a vision contest over on the side of the Drake, Drake almost coming up. We're just having a bit of a situation here on the side of Nativz, where it feels like you want to look and try for a pick, especially on the side lane. And then you just realize, oh, wait, if we try and go for the side lane, they're just going to hard force mid with an Ezreal that has also completed 3 items. And we're not sure we can get that side pick. We don't have a lot of guaranteed CC. You see, on the side of Nativz, they're contesting the vision in the river as the third Drake is getting started by Tacos. They have gotten the scuttle, so they have that extra vision, but the sapling guarantees that the Drake has been started, as does the blue one.
Will Shy be able to jump in and try to steal? Oh, that was actually a pretty close attempt right there from point on the steal, but still not going to come through. Now Bulldogs, they try to engage themselves in onto this fight, is going to hit a charm right here onto Ocht. Still, everybody just going to be able to walk that one out, and that is a couple of these big ultis just immediately used right here, and you don't really get too much from it. Is going to be that sole point completed for Bulldog, and Nativz, they're forced up into this top side of the map. Ocht might have gotten himself a little bit left behind. The remaining members of his team going to have to jump up to try to help him out. Over the wall they go, onto Kakashi, gonna find the pick onto this Nautilus. Immediately he goes down. Tacos now also taking a huge chunk of damage, is gonna have to flash away, gets stopped dead in his tracks, is just gonna be able to get back under the tower now. The turn could potentially come through from Bulldog, they're not gonna be able to make that happen either. So it is just a lot of fighting for one pick so far, although both these teams do still seem to be stepping up a little bit. They do potentially want to go again.
The ult from Dobany was used to try and guarantee the kill on Tacos, but then it ended up landing on Faulty.
Yep.
That was under the turret. So
Yep.
it ends up being a very disjointed fight, but the number advantage gives you the window to try and fight over this Baron. As we see, Nativz are starting it up. Dobany fighting with Tacos to just try and shrunk the Wukong down before the fight starts.
Oh, Faulty. Volty jumps on forwards, is going to land a pretty big charm. Over the wall goes. No, not quite going to be the steal. It is going to be the pickup of the Baron for Nativz, and now they're going to look to find the fight afterwards as well. Volty running for his life is going to get taken down. Sharpie is here with the Dominus up, but he just doesn't have the teammates around him at this point. Low health bars though for Nativz. They need to be careful to not overchase and lose out onto these Baron buffs. It looks like they are going to be able to get away with this one, and Nativz, they make it work. They find the one pick on to Kakashi and turn it around into the Baron.
And an additional 2 kills get picked up after the contest.
Yep.
Faulty and Tacos go down. But Bulldog, we were talking about this possible situation where there was a lot of standing gold on the map. It's a lot more difficult to get this mid pressure. And as we saw in the fight when they found the pick onto Kakashi, it was almost down to the fact that there was no tier 1 turret. You were able to just walk up and make the fight happen. As we see Dobany here sees Kakashi, ends up not pulling the trigger, just goes to clear out some vision and escort his jungler to take the scuttle. But now Mu is he is quite big.
Yeah, he's a little bit strong at this point, we could potentially say. And the fact that, again, 4-0-2 hasn't been killed yet is just such a big boon right here to Nativz. Now, with this Baron Bush available to them, we'll see what Nativz can pick up for themselves, because they've managed to erase that gold lead. We were praising Bulldog so much for being able to pick up that gold lead, 3k in the lead. Well, that has now gone completely. It's now going to be Nativz with the advantage, and you can see they've got a push going on into the bottom lane right now. Sharpie doing a really good job in the top lane of pushing this lane through, making sure you're not going to get so much pressure onto all of these fronts. So what can you do as Nativz to really just make the most of this advantage?
Well, at this point, you just have to split the map. Try and make Bulldog fight in, disjointed. As you see here, Kakashi may have been caught, but ends up being nothing. That is ridiculous. I'm sorry. That is ridiculous. That is healing from one ability. As we see, the bot tier 2 turret goes down. Dobany ends up trading with Sharpie. Now it's level 16 against level 17. There's a whole item advantage on the side of Sharpie, and it feels like Sharpie's losing the trade.
Yeah, he's losing this one. He's still having to turn around and run, and whilst all of that is happening up on the top side of the map, you can see the pressure coming through on the bottom lane as well, trying to escort this cannon minion in so it can start hitting onto the towers. Isn't quite going to be able to still. Tacos has to jump back, takes so much damage. Now here comes that Nature's Grasp just to buy a little bit of extra space. The tower going to go down. Are there any kills to find as well? Kakashi going to get caught once again, and now the Nautilus going down opens up this inhibitor too, and you've still got the top laners fighting up on the top side of the map, so there's none of that pressure. This Renekton is the big part of your fight right here for Bulldogs, and they just don't have him available.
Yeah, I mean, the Renekton, we're praising so much Sharpie for being able to get so much pressure in this game. And then, right now, can see Dobany is currently winning the trade on the top side. He has no Fury available.
He has the ulti. Sharpie just gonna have to flash away from it, otherwise he was gonna get killed. As you said, Harold, this is with an item disadvantage as well, and now Shy potentially also gonna look for the hunt, is just gonna be the TP forced out, and that's a really horrible TP to have to use. Sharpie, after such a good early game, still unkilled, but isn't finding any of that same level of effectiveness out of the Renekton at this point in the game.
This is the issue we're talking about for the side of Bulldog. This composition spikes really hard on one item, level 11, 1.5, maybe even 2 items. You really want to fight around that. But then the late game comes, and the Ambessa in the late game is such a strong champion. The numbers and the mobility and the cooldowns, most importantly, on this champion in the late game.
What are you going to do? Like, as the Renekton, you need it's not a short trade, it's a medium trade to be able to fully stack that Fury, get the Q off, get the healing through, and then you win that. Whereas the Ambessa can jump in and out so quick. In and out constantly. Soul Point now going to be picked up for Nativz as well. Next Drake is going to decide who's able to pick this one up. And the Baron has now fallen off as well. Point potentially hunting to just try to pick up Faulty. Has to immediately pop the Spirit Rush to get away. And that's a big ulti to lose out on. Luckily, there's not going to be any of these objectives coming up for a little while. But the base was cracked open. You've got those super minions pouring in through the bottom side of the map. And the gold lead now is going to be about 1,000 in the favor of Nativz.
Yeah, but does the gold lead even matter when your champions are just better at this stage in the game? But as we see here, Sharpie is baiting Dobany. The ultis come through the Cyclone and the Dominus, trying to take down the Ambessa. Ends up being a kill for the side of Bulldog, still fighting around Sharpie. But the inhibitor in the meantime!
Yeah. Just gonna lose it out. You can't do this right here as Bulldog. Sharpie has to be available to the team. Yes, he's strong on a side lane. He's going to be able to pick up a tier 2 tower, get a little bit of gold back for the team, but losing out onto a mid lane tower and inhibitor is just going to make it so impossible to step out of the base with all of these super minions pouring in constantly. It's just forcing this map smaller and smaller right now for Bulldogs. Without their Renekton, they just can't fight.
It's also the two inhibitors that make it really difficult to contest the Baron. Because you have a mid wave pushing in, you have the bot wave pushing in, and the Baron is on the top side. So you're just so much pressure on every side of the map. You either contest the Baron, or you're probably giving up a lot of HP on your next turret. But as we see here in the jungle now, Nativz have the confidence to just walk up, deny the vision, deny the camps.
This isn't your jungle anymore, Bulldogs. They're just getting completely pushed out. TP gonna come through from Dalbany to get him available for this Baron. Baron gonna be spawning in a couple of seconds' time. And Bulldogs, they're gonna be walking into the darkness right now to try to make this one work. They've got TP available for Faulty, not on Sharpie though, critically, so he's not gonna get a flank. There's actually a bit of aggression going on in the jungle right now. Taco's going down really low, is gonna get jumped here, and it looks like he's just gonna go down. Indeed, Moo gonna pick up that kill. Kakashi goes in, but it's probably going to be too little too late. Can Sharpie find this big engage, or is this one just going to be the end? Kakashi going to fall. The remaining members of Bulldog running for their lives, just about going to be able to get away from that public execution, but with two of their main carries dead at this point, so impossible for them to be able to step up. No jungler available means that this should be Baron here for Nativz.
Nativz going to back off, going to take the safe play, going to take the easy way out of this fight, get 2 picks, force Bulldog back, take the Baron, use the Baron up waves to try and close out the game. But Bulldog, it feels so close, and yet it feels so far.
Yeah.
The game should be even at this point. You exactly have 3 Drakes apiece. You've gotten, 2 Barons? 2 Barons on the side of Nativz, but this should be closer. These fights should be closer. And yet,
yes,
every time a fight happens, it just feels like Nativz are more on point. They single out one target, blow him up, move the comp forward, and then you're playing at a numbers disadvantage on the side of Bulldog, and your composition doesn't work at the numbers disadvantage.
No, it really doesn't. And this is such a shame. 24 minutes into this game, we were talking about how Bulldog were in complete and utter control, but a couple of misplayed team fights, a couple of picks over on the side lanes, resulting in objectives for Nativz, has just put them in a really strong position. Now they can push up with another Baron buff, see if they can crack these final remaining towers outside of the base. Sharpie goes in, tries to get a kill onto point. So much healing coming through, though, and Moo is incoming as well. And the second that Sharpie dies right here, this will just be the end of the game. There's no way that you can survive without this key top laner. Pops the Dominus, is going to be able to turn around and try to get the kill onto point. There's a big team fight happening in the jungle as well, though, but without your key top laner, how do you win this one for Bulldogs? They won't win this one. Taco's going to fall as well. That's now going to be a double kill right here for Moo, and that's another kill going down. 3 members do fall. Yes, point goes down and Sharpie does survive, but you've got Baron empowered minions pouring their way in at the moment. You can see they're just going to be able to push on forward. Shy trying to stop the recall, isn't going to be able to. I think not quite. Okay, that is going to be the recall coming through. So Faulty and Sharpie, what can you do to save the game?
The solo laners on the side of Bulldog are the only ones left to try and make a stand, but there's no Dominus available. Spirit Rush is almost coming back up, but the turrets are going down. This is a full item Zaya.
No wave.
And you don't really have... Well, the wave goes down, but the next wave is already coming through. Sharpie is dead for the first time in this game. And Bulldog, you were so close.
Bulldog. Yep, exactly, Harold. So close, yet so far. Bulldog, they're going to lose once again. Their winless season continues, and Nativz, they put themselves at 1-0. They are now one singular game away from finally completing that goal that they've had for the last couple of splits in a row and making it to Division 1.
Yeah, I mean, really good on the side of Nativz to just recognize that their composition needs a little bit more time to come online. But as soon as those items came through, as soon as their composition was in this position
They
of
just went.
making the fight, they just kept going. They just kept looking for the pick. They kept looking for the fight. And Bulldog crumbled under the pressure.
Absolutely, they did. So, Bulldog, they've got one final chance to keep themselves up into Division 1. Nativz, one game away, as we said. We're going to hop to a quick break. When we come back, we'll complete the question of can Bulldog pick themselves up a single win this split? Alrighty, welcome back to game number 2 here between Nativz Academy and Bulldog Academy. Winner of this one is going to go up into Division 1. Loser of this has to play in Division 2 next split. We're jumping straight on into the draft, and so far, exactly the same.
Yeah, both bands coming through from both sides are exactly the same, of course. Faulties, Heimerdinger getting taken away, Sharpie, Zergot getting taken away. And more meta bands coming through on the side of Bulldogs, a lot of wombo combo, a lot of like early skirmishing power it comes through in these bands, but I wonder if we're gonna stick to the same kind of band philosophy even for this third one, or maybe something's gonna change up from the first game. Of course, the first game, a lot of time spent praising Bulldogs, and then 10 minutes and the game flipped around.
Yeah, exactly, and that's sort of been the curse. That's been the curse of Bulldogs so far, is that we talk about how well it's going for them up until the point to which it's suddenly going very not well for them. And unfortunately, this is going to be another loss over to Bulldogs Academy, but we'd really like to see them pick up the win right here. We want at least 3 games out of this set right here, if not them able to triumph. It would be so fun to see them finally overcome it. Same thing for Nativz, though. It would be really exciting to see them finally achieve their goal of going up into Division 1. See what the next couple of bands are going to be. Nativz, last time around, they took the Poppy off of the board early on, although do they want to just go towards the exact same thing again, or do they think they can change it up a bit?
I wonder if the Poppy ban was to try and lay up the Nidalee, because of course with the leap, the Nidalee can, if you have a Poppy or something that can just lock her down immediately and pretty quickly and pretty easily, and then the fight is kind of warped in that direction. But I wonder on the side of Bulldog, what do you do now with the Argot gone, with the Renekton gone, with the Ahri gone, with the Ezreal gone, with the Wukong gone? Do you go for something a bit more straightforward? Do you go for something like a Vi? Do you go for something with more wombo combo? Do you go for like something like an Aurora, for example? Makes it every team fight a little bit more difficult. As
Exactly.
you seem to have a few
Freezes. Yes. Yeah. There we go. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. All of a sudden exploding onto the screen. Oh, go on. Lock it in. Lock it in. Harold will be so happy.
Please.
I won't have to talk again the entire
Yes!
game. He could just talk about it. There we go. Right. It's fine. I can now tune out.
He did
This is
it.
now the Harold show.
They locked in the GP. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. This is likely blind, I would have to say. He's
Yeah.
locking in GP blind, but after the buffs, it is a little bit, at least slightly better champion. And of course, the mana cost going down on the queue. The ultimate cooldown, I feel like it went down slightly, but I would have to refresh my memory. But on the side of Bulldog, as we see, the Nico and the Volibear already picked up. Nico, I would assume, probably going towards the mid lane as an answer to the Aurora. And the Twitch now picked up for Bloodlust. That is a ballsy pick on 3.
Yeah, this is your entire season on the line, though, right? You have to win right here, otherwise your season is done. You've not picked up a win, you're going to be down in Division 2. Not ideal whatsoever, and so, hey, ballsy is what they're going to need at this point in the game. And to be fair, alongside the Nico, that's an interesting lane where you can potentially find yourself some early kills if the Nico is going to be good, if Kakashi can hit a couple of those roots, and then all of a sudden, if you can grab 1 or 2 early kills onto Twitch, he can completely and utterly take over the game. Still though, that blind as well is a little bit risky, right? Because there's a lot of very strong bot lanes still up and available, plenty of poke that you could potentially take to just make it so the Twitch can't really play it out. I like the Varus ban, I think that's going to be a good start, and I love the Lulu ban. There's a couple of things I feel like you kind of have to take off of the board. Lulu, Milio as well potentially, and then do we get to see something kind of wild with it? Yeah, Rakan also going to come off of the board, so they are very much expecting that this Nico is going to be mid.
There's no way they pick one of the best matchups for GP into GP.
That
this would be quite the play on the side. Hold on, I'm not gonna lie. But I feel like the Nico holding the Nico flex is good. You're making it impossible that it's still a possibility to go to faulty in the mid lane. Could be for Kakashi. You do want to see what you're playing into. You do have this Twitch, so the Twitch does prevent the Sivir and the Jinx from being picked.
Yeah.
Because these hyper carries have almost no way to deal with the Twitch popping out of stealth and just finding the kill. But from what we're seeing right now, a lot of this game is going to be on Taco.
Absolutely, it is. If he does have the volley bear for himself, if that is going to be the volley jungle as we're expecting it to be, then yeah, that should be a very strong look. I do think this draft has had a quick blip again. Hopefully we can get these picks back up onto our screens in a couple of seconds' time. There we go. Thank you,
Oh,
Zoe.
it is locked. The Shen is
It is
locked.
locked. Yeah, right. Hold your horses on that one. We will talk about that one between the draft and the game. It's
Yeah.
going to be the Corki locked in right here for Nativz, so they're just going to get themselves something else that can lane absolutely fine right here into the Twitch. Alistair as well going to be locked in, so obviously you're relatively weak at that very, very early stage of level 1, but beyond that point, you can get quite aggressive depending on where this Nico is going to go. We'll obviously have to see what this final pickup is going to be from Bulldogs, because right now they've got themselves what is, in isolation, not looking at the pickups from Nativz, quite a strong composition. I like what they're doing. The team fights overall, if you're able to land a big Pop Blossom into the Twitch just uncorking and going, that can be really, really strong, but it still needs something to kind of tie this all together here.
That is a pickup. I was thinking Milio. I was thinking maybe Karma.
Yeah.
Or maybe even a
Yumi.
Yumi. Yeah. And then we go Blitzcrank.
Hey, when we were talking about the Twitch getting some early advantages for himself, I guess, right? If you could just Blitzcrank, hook somebody in and pick up the kill early on, the Corki can be a bit squishy, right? I mean, if you can stop the GP or the Lilia dead in their tracks and yoink them in, that can work too during the team fights. I mean, Kakachu, we've seen, right? He likes to play these sorts of champions. He likes to get a little bit more aggressive with it. With the Nautilus during the early game, he was pretty good. Anyway, we talked more than enough, right? About all of the other things. We don't care about that. Harold doesn't care about that. Talk to me about Shen and GP.
Well, well, in the beginning there was GPE, explosive barrel,
Yeah.
and Shen doesn't have anything that can deal with it. It's just you get to lay down the barrels, you get to have the lane control. The trial by fire is just great to punish the Shen. Like if you even if the Shen engages on you with the taunt, it's a taunt. You just orange, and if you're playing at the GP right, you have a barrel under your feet. You block the barrel, you proc the passive, and you just start running the Shen down. And almost so, every time the Shen ults away, you ult where the Shen is ulting, and then you keep pushing.
Yeah.
The GP is antithetical to what Shen wants to do in almost every way. You want to stay in lane, you want to get ahead for yourself, you want to maybe, yes, help out your team with a cannon barrage, but you can also use that cannon barrage for lane dominance and lane control. You can save it for team fights. Both champions have global impact, but only one of them is one that can push its lead to a degree of it can be unbearable to deal with. Now, on the side of Bulldog, there are tools to deal with it. There's the Blitzcrank. GP hates playing into Blitzcrank because you cannot orange the hook. Mm-hmm. You get hooked and you're just, now I'm in the middle of the enemy team.
Good luck. Yeah. Exactly.
But I can appreciate taking Gangplank, as we had in Snap reaction when the pick happened. But this is not a simple game to play Gangplank into. There's a lot of things that have Snap engage, that have ways of making it difficult. But to be honest, there's also no particular long-range engage that you do have to think about. So I can see the angle, but it's going to be difficult.
It's going to be tough, but at the same time, right? It's fun, right? We're excited for it. And this composition here out of Nativz is quite fun in the way that it wants to play. GP is looking to just nuke somebody off the face of the earth with the barrels. That's exactly the same sort of thing that Point is going to be wanting to do with this Aurora right here. And when you've got someone like the Twitch, very squishy, relatively immobile as long as you can see the little guy, this could be a potentially very fun game for these Nativz carries to just go for this one. Then you've got the Corki to give you that bit of follow-up, the Lilia who's both tanky and does quite a lot of damage as well. This could be a really interesting way of trying to play out these team fights, because I'm not so sure that they're going to want to just straight up front-to-back 5v5. It's not terrible, to be fair. Corki Alistair makes it work for you in a lot of ways, but more than that, if you can find those early picks before the team fights even start, that's a real way for Nativz to be able to play. For Bulldog, yes, the Shen is going to be miserable into the GP. Absolutely, you're right. But you have to think, right, the Shen wasn't picked so that it could be really good into the GP. The Shen is picked because you need some extra survivability here onto the Twitch. You need your Twitch to be able to play the game. And I think that's why you're going to have this pickup right here.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult. It's not straightforward. I think in every team fight, you're having to deal with 2-3 threats that can just wreck the entire fight on their own. But it's not impossible. But this composition on the side of Bulldog, it relies so much on Taco having a really excellent early game on the Volibear, just finding the windows to engage, to keep going forward, to find the punish, to make dives happen. You have the Volibear ultimate. You can turn off that turret and just try and make the dive happen with that. It's a question though of, can you outpace the Nativz comp enough that your mid game isn't just despair?
Yeah, we will have to see on this one. I think the other thing that worries me a little bit about this one for Bulldogs is that, as we were talking about, right, Dalbany's really quite a strong player, but Sharpie seemed to have his number in the previous game with a bit of a counter matchup. Now that you're playing into the counter matchup, you're not really looking like Sharpie's going to be unlocked into this game, right? The Shen can take over games if it's strong enough, but is more of a supportive role overall, and especially into a matchup you're not having such a fun time on, you're not thinking, oh yeah, Sharpie can just completely take over the game. And in that situation, okay, so who's going to step up for you? Because in the previous game, it didn't really feel like anybody else was fully able to step up right here for Bulldogs. Tacos tried to make a lot of early ganks work, wasn't quite able to do so. Faulty had a couple interesting moments, but also then got caught out a few times. Bloodlust, same thing, even with the Ezreal, was just getting jumped a lot. And I think more than anything, Kakashi was getting caught a ton before these team fights started, and that was the beginning of the end right there for Bulldogs. So with having this Shen in the top lane, you're putting a lot of pressure onto these other members of Bulldogs to step up to carry you through this critical game.
Yeah, I mean, you're really on the side of Bulldog, you're really looking at Bloodlust. You have the Twitch. Twitch is a 80 carry, half playmaker with the stealth. You do have to find the windows to try and just lay down the damage and make it happen. But it's gonna be difficult because there's a lot of how can I put this kindly? There's a lot of yes, kill that exact thing right now. Immediately on the side of Nativz. The Aurora damage coming through, but I do believe we're almost there.
Yeah, there we go. Alrighty, let's get on into this game. We've talked about the team compositions. We know how this game should play out. Let's see what these teams can do. Nativz up against Bulldog. Game number 3. Nativz win, sends them up to Division 1. Bulldog down into Division 2. A real slide for them if that ends up happening. Bulldog, they need to win this one. They need to then win the next one for any hope.
Yeah, I mean, this game is their do or die, right? Division 2 awaits if you do end up dropping, and the long-awaited promotion for Nativz is right there. They're right there. They can just grab it, I think.
Yeah, they can taste it at this point. And hey, with this composition, right, they've got some fun angles to try to play around. For Bulldog, let's see what they can do in the early game. I expect their early game to be good, and then let's see if they can translate that one into a win.
A lot of the early game is going to rely on Kakashi and Tacos being able to link up and maybe make plays happen. You know, the hook into the Thundering Smash might just be the way that you have to play around. But as we see here, Kakashi manages to get some deep vision, basically
That's
uncontested.
Good. Yeah.
They don't know the vision's there.
No, that's really nice to know exactly where Shy is going to be starting. You can obviously make an educated guess. The Lilia wants to start on chickens most of the time anyway, but just knowing that is going to be helpful. Both of these junglers are going to be starting over on their Raptors, so might potentially be working towards the opposite sides of the map. And you can, with starting on the chickens right here, especially for Tacos, do a 3 camp to gank if you want it and potentially try to take over this lane, make Dalbany uncomfortable in this one. It would be tough. It looks like instead we're just moving straight up towards the Krug, so you're then going to head back down towards the red buff and head towards the bottom side of the map, but it could have been a potential option.
See here, Dalbany using the barrels on the Trial by Fire to just make the laning very annoying. The choice of rune is interesting. The Eri is one of those substitute runes that has been popping up for GP ever since the grasp changes from this patch, where the ranged functionality of grasp is reduced to, I think, 40% instead of the 66% it was before.
Yeah.
So now, of course, GPQ being changed to count as a ranged attack. I still despise Riot for making that choice. I really like getting my 30 extra damage per Q for free. But
Ignore Harold. Thank you, Riot. That made everybody else's lives better.
But going forward with the substitute runes that have been popping up, it's Comet. Oh, as we see the hook.
Okay. That's
Okay,
a good hook
Kakashi.
right there from Kakashi. Sniper right there onto Mu. Takes away half of his health. And this is the thing, right? As much as landing a Blitzcrank hook onto an Alistair is basically just giving a free engage, if you can grab some of these squishier members, if you can keep landing these hooks onto Mu, give an early kill over to Bloodlust, that's a real way to try to play through this game.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it earlier. The Twitch has ways to play, has ways to make the game, warp the game. Really, the stealth abilities are always going to change the game ever so slightly. On one end, you have Point that is currently getting ganked. Ends up flashing out.
That's quite a lot of damage. That Point.
Yep.
Limping away on that one.
Ends up living, burns the flash. Tacos doesn't end up burning the flash to try and chase.
Oh,
but Shy tried holding the wave and was immediately punished.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why Shy thought that was going to be a good idea. Rightfully pushed back into his own jungle. Isn't going to die though, and doesn't lose too much. Does lose the flash, so once you get that level 6 available to you, not going to have the option to just flash Q in and then potentially try to play out a fight from there. We'll see if that does end up making any form of difference. See some early resets coming on through. Nothing too much to really write home about at the first couple of minutes of this game. We are going to have a Drake available in 30 seconds time, however, and the bottom lane pressure really has been strong so far for Bulldog, although some engages happening potentially here at the moment.
As you see, I believe a flash out from Ocht.
Yeah.
As Tacos is in the bot lane trying to make the punish happen, trying to set up something with Kakashi. The push coming through is great. The CS difference also that's accumulating on the side of Bloodlust is quite important. You do want to keep this Corki down, as again, like on the in the game prior, it was the Corki, it was the Ezreal on the side of Bulldog. That was that 2-item champion that really spikes at those 2 items. Wants to get those 2 items as early as possible. As we see here, Dabani, TP is back to lane, has the Sheen, and now the GP is...
he's online.
Quite annoying.
Yeah, it's miserable to try to play this one out. The second that the Sheen comes on, I know that obviously GP gets better with more items, but the Sheen is kind of the point at which I look at this champion and go, yep, just step back, there's no real point in stepping up too far forwards, and Dalwini is really proving that to us right here. Sharpie gonna have to step back quite far, does still have the flash available, both of these top laners do, and actually, to be fair, Kakashi has roamed his way up towards the top side of the map, potentially would have been looking for a gank onto an over-aggressive Dalwini, but he's done so much damage already to Sharpie that there's no hope really, and the reset is just gonna have to come through.
Tabby's come through, good first pressures on the side of Sharpie, mitigates a little bit of the poke. Of course, reduces the damage from the Q, doesn't reduce the damage from the barrel, but armor is always good. Armor is always going to be feeling good into a pure the AD damage dealer. But as we see here on the map, pretty much even everywhere. Of course, GP is probably racking up one with the parlay passive. As we see here, Shy is currently getting engaged on. Tacos is right there to punish the little deer.
No flash.
But there might not be enough chase.
Oh, they're going to try. They're going to keep running on forwards. Tacos tries desperately to get close enough to be able to get another stun off. Isn't going to be able to get it onto the Lilia. Instead, it's the Alistair that's going to be chunked down, taken out, flash forwards from Bloodlust to secure that first blood.
Twitch flashes forward, finds the first kill of the game for Bulldog. As we see here, Sharpie misses the taunt. Dobony ends up trading back, but it is going to be first Drake going over to the side of Bulldog, using that Volibear, using that Blitzcrank pressure to just try and make the picks happen. Shy lives, but then Octa ends up going down. The first kill goes onto the Twitch, and now there's already like a 10-15 CS lead in the bot lane for Bloodlust.
Yeah.
You put a kill on top of that?
Ooh, yeah, it hurts. It's pretty rough right now, and all of that honestly spirals out from the fact that Shy tried to hold a wave that he had no right to be able to hold, loses his flash in that mid lane play. Oh, hang on, Kakachi's just dead. Alright, fine. I guess Kakachi stepped a little bit too far forwards. You do sometimes hook in an Alistair and give the free engage over. So the kill is paid back. Nativz are able to pick themselves up this one as well. Oct gonna give us a little bit of the ding, ring the bell right there of Kakachi. And that helps, right? It's still the 20 CS lead for Bloodlust that we were talking about, but he's going to be able to pick up this wave right now. You know, he's going to be able to close the gap in the CS a little bit, and with the kill coming through as well, that does a lot to stop that spiraling of Bloodlust in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, Bloodlust currently getting swapped up to the top side as soon as he spotted the Dub, and he's like, get me out of here. I do not want to deal into Blitzcrank Twitch. I do want to keep bullying the Shen into getting free gold. But currently Kakachi is spotted. Oct is also in the top side. First barrels go down. No chase. No dice.
No, not quite going to be able to get forwards for this one. Kakachi now potentially looking for another hook. You can also see Faulty hanging around on the edge of this one. The Scuttle Crab is going to go over to Nativz, so they are going to know this is happening. Oct is going to jump in, tries to get that initial bit of stun down. Here comes that GP ulti Faulty as well. Pop Blossom onto multiple members, and this is going to be a one-team fight for Bulldogs. They completely destroy Nativz. Faulty, that was gorgeous.
It's a 4-0, and Faulty with a flash Pop Blossom just makes the fight impossible on the side of Nativz. It is jarring to see so little respect being paid to a possible Nikoing. Every time I'm playing against this champion, I am constantly panicking, looking for where the hell is this gosh darn chameleon.
I mean, they missed the minion, right? I'm pretty sure Faulty walked in right there as a little minion midway through the team fight. And yes, there's a lot of spells, there's a lot of flashes happening right there, so it is easier to miss a little minion wandering on in, but I'll give you a little hint. They don't usually join team fights in the river. Unfortunate right there for Nativz that they just get completely caught out, and that's 3-0-1 now onto Faulty.
Yeah, and Protobelt completed a lot more playmaking already coming through from the Bulldog mid laner. Of course, didn't have the brightest of laning phases in the game prior, found some really good mid-game skirmishes with the rest of their team. And now in this game, it feels like we're kind of in the same situation. There's a 1.5k gold lead on the side of Nativz, on the side of Bulldog, as Nativz are currently trying to claw it back through laning phases. Of course, the GP is getting free pressure in the top side, getting those trial by fire procs onto the turret, because true damage on turrets, why not?
I mean, it's just gonna keep up with this pressure. Like, oh, it's so miserable. It really is. Top lane is not fun at the moment, but still, even though the 1v1 lane is tough, it's exactly as we were highlighting during the draft phase, that it isn't necessarily about this 1v1. Sharpie is not here to win the 1v1. Sharpie is here to protect the key carries, whether that be Bloodlust or, hey, whether that be Faulty as a little minion jumping into the middle of the team with the Pop Blossom. That's where the Shen is really going to find a lot of that extra priority, because at least in these early game team fights, the GP pops down the ulti right there, and the Karen Barrage, it kind of just tickles right now.
Well, yeah, tier 1 Cannon Barrage is very much just a setup tool, trying to maybe get some space
Trying
for
to
your team to
steal
fight
kills
out.
off of your bot lane that
Hell
they've
yeah.
set for themselves.
Hell yeah, this is why in solo queue you always keep tabbing down to bot lane, and every time they fight you throw down ultimate, because free kill.
Oh, Oct, okay, he's just gonna flash forwards. Oh, messes that one up horribly. Headbutts the wrong way, and Bloodlust is gonna punish that one for the kill.
Yeah, I think the headbutt was in the right direction, but Kakashi just ends up flashing the other direction. So the follow-up is just going under the turret, and Oct is just dead. The Alistair's engage is full committal. You have to get in there. You have to fight fight with your body, basically, every single time. And as soon as you misstep into a composition where there's a twitch that is able to slow you down, able to punish you, you don't have the level 6, you can't tank the turret, you're just doomed at that point. It's just really difficult to try and get back.
Yeah, that was Well,
that happened.
yeah, we won't dwell on that one too much. The thing that's potentially more interesting to talk about here is that once again, Bulldog have got themselves a lead, Can they hang on to it? Point now going to get jumped right here. Kakashi going to come Hex Flash over the wall. Point just about should be able to jump away. Great sidestep right there. That was crazy to be able to just get away from that one. Nice attempt from Kakashi. The response, though, Shy is going to go towards the top side of the map, trying to get this dive off onto Sharpie, who's just going to get taken down. Nice and easy pickup right there. Still, because you now see the jungler for Nativz on the top side of the map, that does open up the dragon for Bulldog.
Yeah, Bulldog in this game way more on point in terms of objectives. Of course, they secured themselves a grub. They secured themselves the first drake, and this will give them that feat of monster slaying and feats of strength because they've already claimed feats of warfare. As we see here, though, Dobany getting pressure on the top side will probably end up taking this tier 1 turret. Won't matter in terms of feats, it will be the first one, but that also will be 5 plates onto the gangplank.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous amount of gold into his back pocket. You can see that Trinity Force already completed both onto the GP and onto this Corki, so you've got a couple of champions hitting the beginnings of their breakpoints. Bot lane, though, we watch this tower just get mauled through by multiple members. Oct messes it up again, doesn't manage to get the headbutt pulverize combo off. Tacos is going to be able to survive, walks this one out with the ulti, and the kill goes over. And this is a disaster. Faulty now jumping in as well. Tacos gets back involved. This is going to be 2 more kills going over to Bulldog, and Nativz are collapsing.
Yeah, I mean, this is Bulldog just putting their foot down and saying, we have the item advantage, we have the level advantage, we have the tempo advantage. If you fight us, we'll always fight back. We'll always bite back. We'll always look for something. And here, the Mu is trying to farm out this wave. He's trying to save this turret. I don't know if he will be on time. But as we see Tacos going for the gank, the headbutt finally clears some space, makes space for Mu. But I do think Oct would end up going down here.
Yeah, Mu just not quite able to do enough damage to make this one work here either. You can see the bowling ball going to go wide as well. There wouldn't have been an ulti attached to it from Shy anyway. And Tacos is at least going to get forced back, isn't going to be able to steal away this big Krug. But across the course of the last couple of minutes, Bulldog, they've been able to extend their advantage up to almost 3,000 gold at the moment. That's about as big an advantage as they had in the previous game. And thank you very much, Zoe, for showing us the breakdown of the gold right here. Yeah.
It's almost as big as an advantage as Dobany currently has in the lane.
Yes.
That's the only reason there's the gold gap is not as big.
Exactly.
It's because this gangplank is able to just warp the game and warp the tempo, and just generate so much gold in this lane. Plus, all the plates that he was able to gather. This is currently Nativz' hope. They hope they can just delay the game long enough that their heavy damage dealers, can come online. You do want this Liliet to get those 2 items. You want this Corki to be on 2 items. As we see here, Bloodlust. Under little to no threat. It is an Alistar. His engage range is not as effective without the flash, but as we see the hook coming through from Kakashi as Bloodless starts railing into this cow, and it just goes down.
Harold?
Yeah?
This is an Alistar performance of all time.
It surely is happening. Also, what's happening is Faulty roaming with a minion.
It's so funny watching the little minion just go for its little wander on straight through the jungle. Luckily, that's not going to catch any members of Nativz out right here. And as much as we joke and have Alistar performance of all time, Oct is seriously going to have to clean this performance up if Nativz want any hope of winning. If he's constantly punting key catches away from members of Nativz where they can't now get these kills, that's gonna really suck. I mean, anti-synergy galore, right? If you accidentally punt somebody out of a 2-3 barrel combo, that can completely change the outcome of the game. We'll see if Oct can make this one work for himself. We've obviously got ourselves the Herald available on the map right now. We've got a minute 30 seconds until the next dragon as well, so some key objectives coming up, and somebody didn't count minions.
It wasn't a minion, it was a plant inside the bush. As Dobany is trying to make enough space, he uses the barrel. The chunk onto Taco is big. But the ult comes through, and Dobany ends up falling. The Pirate King almost makes his escape. That's not quite enough.
Nope, indeed. And this is the trickery that the change to Nico really wanted. Shy about to get himself caught out as well. Just gonna get bounce housed around. Maybe gets the blast cone over the wall. Not quite gonna be able to get himself away. Just gives the kill over to Bloodlust. The Nativz, they really are falling apart in this one. That's going to open up this objective. The Herald,
Oh,
straight up
oh.
Bloodlust, just opens up, flashes over the combo straight into Moo, is going to be able to pick up the kill, and now Oct is soon to follow as well, even through the ulti. Double kill right here for Bloodlust.
Another double kill in the pocket of the Twitch. 700 gold shutdown sitting in his pocket. And I feel like there's going to be like, what, an Infinity Edge plus what, even an LDR in base to pick up? As you see here, Dobani cancels the reset on Tacos. Tacos does not have the ultimate available. This could be a chase down coming through from Dobani, finding the revenge for the kill. No barrels available though. It's really difficult to chase, and Tacos is kiting the barrels as the Shenlong comes through. The last healing from the frenzied Maul.
No.
Oh boy. Oh man. As we see.
What am I watching? What is this?
I don't know.
What is this, Harold? I mean, Hex flashing over the wall right now to potentially buy space, maybe to just jump into the arms of the enemies. We'll see. Actually catches Faulty out. There we go. That's pretty good. Drake getting down around about half at this point, but the hook gonna come through. Faulty flashes forwards as well. Is gonna get that nice catch right here onto Moo. Gonna go down. And this is Bulldogs just taking over this game once again. They're going to pick themselves up their third Drake of the game. That's sole point now for Bulldogs.
It is so difficult to look on the side of Nativz. You have this. We don't want to like harp on this too much, but Ocht is just making it so difficult for any fight to ever happen because he's always half HP, or he's burnt a cooldown, or he's inside the enemy team because he keeps getting hooked.
Yes.
It's difficult to fight when your main tool of engage is always dead.
Yeah, it's so tricky right now. And you can see after the couple of crazy plays we've just seen, soul point available for Bulldogs pretty early on into the game as well. They're going to be able to pick that one up for themselves in 4 and a bit minutes if all goes well. The gold lead finally reflecting the number of kills between the two of them right now. It is going to be 6,000 the advantage. You can see 2 items completed onto Bloodlust. He's so strong at the moment. Dalbany looking to recoup a little bit of this one. Faulty is going to get chunked. Tacos is in the area, and with the golden, this might mean that the Nico just about survived. Yes, a little bit of HP remaining. Tacos now gonna jump forwards, doesn't quite hit the ulti onto Dao, but he has to use one more Q to be able to pick that one up. And now Shy running for the hills, does have friends in the area. Kakashi arrives as well. Between the two of them, I don't know that they could pick up the kill, but if they could stall long enough for Bloodlust to arrive, this could be another one fight right here for Bulldog. Oct just gonna go down again. One final punt into the air isn't going to save his life. Bloodlust arrives just to scoop up that final kill. You can see there's a 3,000 gold lead down in the bottom lane. What is happening?
Yeah, this is just Bulldog. They make it delivering on what they promised, basically, with this draft. They're just able to keep the tempo going, keep the windows of fighting going. This Blitzcrank from Kakashi is just able to make so much happen on the map. He's genuinely just being the biggest threat on the side of Bulldog currently. But as we see here, the flash taunt coming through from Sharpie makes sure that point goes to the point of no return.
So Harold.
Yeah?
7,000 gold. A Norton 9 Alistair on the other team. Soul point. Can Bulldog throw this game? Is it physically possible for Bulldog to throw this game?
I think there's a chance. I do think there is still a possibility because this is still a Twitch and you still have Lilia and Lilia GP, and you're able to just lay down the damage and find the window to get the engage. But as we see now, the Atakan is going to start to go down. There's Faulty and Tacos on it. You know, the Volibear has completed 3 items. He is nigh on immortal at this point.
Yeah, but it's so hard to throw this one. I think it really reflects the sort of season that Bulldog have had, that we're even slightly questioning it. For any other team, you'd be like, well, this one's done. Wrap it up. Go next. And that may well still be the case. That's what we hope, obviously. We want 3 games. We want to see Bulldog pick themselves up a first win of the split. But part of me, I'll be honest, still just doesn't quite trust it.
Yeah, there's a bit of a, are you gonna do this to me again? But you're finally showing me hope. just to drag me back down in about 20 minutes.
Losing this one, I think, would actually take Jolly out. Like, we're gonna have to check in on him if this one does get lost.
This might just hit him harder than his solo queue games as of late.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Alrighty. Jokes aside, Bulldog very much are going to be in control of this game. Nativz stepping up a little bit right now, but they have to be so careful. Bloodlust just hunting at the moment, and now, with that Stand United coming on in, Oct might be looking at his 10th death of the game, gets a good knock-up, another one. Hang on, this might be the turnaround that you need right here for Nativz. They're going to be able to pick up the kill onto Sharpie. Faulty going to go down as well. Bloodlust still gets to open up, though, and he's just going to wreck through the members of Nativz. It looked good for a couple of seconds, but the Twitch untouched and unkilled so far.
A 3-4-4 though, as such a deficit is a massive win on the side of Nativz. The combo in the fight coming through. Oct nullifies the CC with the ultimate, finds a 3-man knockup to just lay down the damage with the Aurora, the Between Worlds, the barrels coming through, the cannon barrage. Now that's a level 14 GP. That's a cannon barrage that does quite sting.
Yeah.
And the Serpent's Fang, I was questioning it in my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not great here. You're trying to just deal damage and you're stopping for an in-between, but with the amount of shielding that's coming through between the Locket, the Shen, the Volibear E,
yeah,
it's doing work in these fights, as in it's making it a lot more difficult for so much of the survivability to come through. And thanks production for hovering over the number. 1,400 shielding reduced as of now. Probably not all in that fight, but
yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, the fact that's getting hovered right now is because our producer disagrees with this item entirely, and she's mad about it. Which is fair enough, as me and Harold said, right? We too were looking at it going, interesting. I think once we get late enough into the game and you do still have those more damage-based items and the Serpent's Fang, I can see it. And there is a lot of shielding, you're absolutely right. For right now, it does sort of just delay the point at which you're actually going to be able to deal that big damage. But we saw that there are possibilities here for Nativz. The thing is, these teamfights will not be won for them properly until they can get on top of Bloodlust, and so far he's done a really good job of being able to space out these fights.
As we see the itemizer, with the soul coming through, it's going to be even so much harder on the side of Nativz to try and find the pick onto this Twitch. Yes, Twitch is squishy, but that extra shielding is going to help. The Locket coming through is going to help. So much space creation on the side of Bulldog as well. Of course, the Blitzcrank that we've been praising so much, Kakashi, having an amazing game on it. Otako, at the same time, currently deathless on the Volibear, 7-1 and 11. That is almost 75% kill participation.
Yep. And then you look at the other side, right? And you got a couple kills onto Moo, couple kills onto Shy, and 10 deaths onto Oct, right? And that's the thing. You can't play these fights when you've not got the engage. It was exactly as you said, Harold. It's making it so tricky to try to play out. We are now 25 minutes into the game. Baron is going to spawn right now. Whilst we were having our discussion, the Soul also went down for Bulldog, so they have put themselves in a great spot to be able to win. That is going to increase the use of the Serpent's Fang. To be fair, there's even more shielding available.
You see, the Baron is already at 6k health. The side of Nativz, you're looking for a window to try and turn. The cannon barrage starts going down, starts tagging tackles, but Kakashi finds the catch. The ult starts coming through, and the Pop Blossom finds so much damage, but Dobany's here with the barrels. First target goes down, Sharpie goes down, Bloodless is free-firing, though! The rat-a-tat-tat! And Nativz goes splat.
He doesn't quite find as much as he would have wanted, though, with that. And there's still a couple of members available. Tacos jumps in once again. Golden is going to come through from Shy. Survives and picks up the big shutdown right there. Now, Kakashi potentially getting jumped as well. Bloodlust trying his best to survive. Not going to be able to. And Nativz, they find their fight. They get themselves back into this game. And can they even pick themselves up the Baron right now?
This could be a Baron, but Dobany, it did so much work in that fight. The Pirate King, you almost had him. This is the day that you almost caught Dobany in the fight. But the barrels keep coming down. The crit keeps coming down. I saw a few barrels deal about 1k damage.
Yeah. And there was some 1,000 gold shutdowns as well, with the Baron now picked up. That gold lead that we were praising, that 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 gold lead slowly creeping up and up and up. It's gone. It's gone. It's erased just
Completely
like
gone.
that. And look at where it is. If we could pause right here with the gold picked up right here. There were 3,000 gold leads on multiple lanes before. And now bot lane's dead even. Mid lane's barely an advantage. Jungle's barely an advantage. Top lane, you're still down by 3,000 gold. And we brought it up sort of as a joke, Harold, but can Bulldog lose the game from this position? Yeah, they can.
Yes. As we see here, Ocht might be getting caught out. Tangle Barb's
Buddy, not again.
balance, but
Uh,
this
Hang on.
might be a reverse
Is this the
catch.
bait of all time? Is this the bait of all time? No, it is not. That's just going to be 2 quick kills going straight over 2 Bulldogs. And now you might potentially lose a kill on to Dalbin. He's trying his best to get away, but the barrels are just going to get taken out. And Bloodlust is going to pick that kill up as well. That's 3 Baron buff erased immediately off of the map.
Yeah. If we go to praising to like, what are you doing? Ocht is still... He's still like 10k behind in his thinking. I feel like it's really difficult to fight every time that your Alistair is just kind of out of position.
It really is. And this is right. You've picked yourself up the Baron right here, and you've pushed. Which wave? Where? Which tower have you threatened now with the Baron?
Which one of your carries is already like buffing up a wave currently? Which carry is currently making the push happen? Because
yeah, exactly. This is not the most effective Baron right here out of Nativz. So yeah, we will have to see how much they actually get from this one, because remember, there are still items to come right here for Bulldog. They hadn't fully completed their build paths, right? You've still got yourself another item available for Bloodlust pretty soon. Faulty as well sat right on the very edge of that death cap. That's going to be a huge power spike if he can hit those big pop blossoms that he's already proven he is able to do. And they are, of course, still going to be up at this point by about 2,000 gold off the back of those couple of kills. It's something. It is something, but Bulldog, that massive advantage they have for themselves has been erased, and they're going to have to be a heck of a lot more careful when it comes to these remaining team fights. Faulty might potentially get caught right here. Oct just immediately flashing on forwards. Isn't going to be able to pick that one up. Yep. Good little zoom in right here onto the moo cow Alistair.
Yes, officer, right here. Tim.
And that's your flash gone. And there's 10 seconds until Elder spawns.
But you do have positioning in the river. You can't get caught like this, though.
Oh boy, that's just going to be the immediate ulti popped, and that's now a big bit of your front line just so much squishier going on into this next fight. This is going to be the critical fight right here. Bloodlust, he's invisible. Can he find his way in? Another great hook, gonna pull the deer in. Bloodlust gets into the backline, runs through the members, and this is going to be a 1-team fight immediately right here for Bulldogs. They made it risky, they made it look harder than it needed to be, but that's going to be the clean ace picked up.
Finally, Bulldog win their first game of the season. They pick up their win, and they're going to bring this series to a game 3. Nativz, they tried. They found the window to come back. The game was even. And then it crumbles down in 2 plays and 2 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The second that the flash was up and available for Bloodlust, he was able to find himself that little bit of a backdoor. And take it in here, folks. Watch it real good. This is Bulldogs Academy picking up their first win of the UKEL 4 Nations Spring Split. Congratulations right there to the Bulldog boys. You can't beat them 12 times in a row. 11, sure. But 12. 12, you cannot do.
12 you can, but... What? Harold,
what was that? What did I just watch?
Why are you asking me? We were watching the same
You're
thing.
my analyst. This is the joys of being play-by-play. I don't have to think about this. I just watch shapes and colors on my screen. You have to tell me what we just watched.
Well, we watched the Bulldog get a big lead, feed their AD carry, throw it at Baron, throw that at Baron, give over.
Oh, you guys can't see what we just have put on our screen, but thank you very much to Zoe, our producer, for telling us that the Blitzcrank out-damaged the Shen.
Okay, that happened, but Bulldog had to make
Oh.
it harder for themselves to somehow win a one game.
Shen,
Yeah.
Shen, Sharpie. Sharpie, one of genuinely the better players that we've got, right? The shining light for this Bulldogs roster gets out damaged by Kakashi, and they win?
Well, you see, to be honest, Kakashi was perma catching the Alistair, so
It was probably all of the Alistair. Right. That game happened.
yeah.
It was fun. We're gonna go to a quick break. Join us in a few minutes to see whether it's gonna be Bulldogs or Nativz making it into Division 1.
drum to what we love. Risk the follow, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of the world that we defy. A soul right of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last
Oh, right, right, right. Everybody, take that game, screw it up into a little ball, chuck it out the window, and forget about it. It's another game. It's a new day. We've jumped already into draft right here. 3 bands already coming through. It's pretty much the exact same ones. Bulldog are going to be playing right here, though, onto the blue side, and they're going to first pick themselves the Rel. Interesting.
The Rel's been banned away second phase on the
Mm.
side of from Bulldogs most every single game in second phase. I wonder what the cause of it is, because there's still like good anti-engaged champions available. The Poppy is one of them. Of course, there's also this possibility of the Leona, but it is going to be on the Poppy. Now, what is going to be the answer? The Twitch is gone, so hyper carries can be picked early on fairly confidently. It is the Sivir getting picked up here from Nativz going in the hands of Mu, while Bloodlust is currently pondering between the Jinx and the Aphelios. Aphelios gives you a bit of a stronger laning phase. Jinx would be better later on. But
Yeah. Yeah, the
what is going to
Aphelios.
be the adaptation?
Yeah, the Aphelios has been a bit of an odd one recently, where it's like hovering right on the very edges of being something that we are seeing a lot of. It's going to be the Aphelios locked in. It might be the Cho'Gath locked in right here as well out of Bulldogs. We'll see if they want to pick this one up as well. It is going to be that Cho'Gath. So, okay.
Cho'Gath
Okay.
picked up for Sharpie. I do
Sharpie,
think it's
yeah.
a good pickup. It's one of the better tanks right now in the meta. You know, we can mitigate laning phase, scales extremely well, of course, thanks to the feast. But what is going to be the answer? Do you just pick top lane here for in that, and you put something in the hands of Dominic that can deal with the Cho'Gath? Do you trade with a tank, something like a Scion, something like an Ornn? Do you go
Yeah,
for a bruiser, something like an Aatrox, one of the premier bruisers into the Cho'Gath just because of the outsustain angle? It's going to be the
okay.
Gwen instead.
Yeah, the answers throw the gauntlet down right here, apparently. Dalmany got pushed around a little bit in game number 1. Was able to have a pretty good game number 2 with a bit of a counter, and in this one, yeah, he's just going to go fully in onto this one. The Gwen can have a really good time into the Cho'Gath if you're careful. You have to be very careful to not ever get hit by that knockup, otherwise all of a sudden things can go wrong pretty much immediately. But with the skip and slash, it's relatively easy to get away from that one, and then you can punish onto the Cho'Gath, and you get better as a counter. The Cho'Gath getting more and more health, more and more resistances later on into the game. All of a sudden, you're just shredding through this champion. So I do like this pickup right now. And with the Poppy down in the support, you'd have to imagine, although it could still go into the jungle potentially, a good bit of movement between those two champions. You've already got a little bit of tankiness just built in already.
A lot of AD jungle takeaways right now. The Kindred and the Zinzao banned away by Nativz. On the side of Bulldogs, you are taking away the Jarvan, one of the better counters to the Aphelios, a mobile AD carry. You just pick the Jarvan, you put him in the cage, and then you lay down the damage on him. But the Talia is also going to get taken away from point here.
Mm.
And it's only a hover, but I would assume probably going to lock the ban in this way. But I wonder on the side of Nativz, what do you pick now? Because you've already picked your jungle matchup, your mid lane matchup. I said every role except the one I was thinking. Oh, it's going to
Ooh,
be the Poppy jungle
it is
and the
Poppy
Renata
jungle.
support. I thought it was
Unless
going
you
to
want to
be
be
Poppy
really
support.
crazy and put yourself in a situation where you've got the Gwen jungle, like it could technically happen at this point.
Could
Ooh.
happen. It's not. I feel like Gwen Jungle's not been the strongest after all of the nerfs, but the pickup, I do
Olaf.
believe this is going to go in the hands of Taco.
Yeah.
I do believe this is going to be the Olaf jungle. Really good counter into the Poppy. Poppy's entire kit is about committing to the engage. Olaf presses ult, and then all of your denial of engage disappears. He just runs at you.
Yeah, exactly. And it is going to be pretty tricky to deal with, especially for a champion like the Severe Squishy Immobile. If you get just run at right here by tacos, that can make it really, really hard to try to play this one out. We'll have to see what the next pickup is going to be. You still are needing a mid laner, unless it's Cho'Gath in the mid lane or something wild like that. And I mean, in terms of mid laners that work with this composition, you're pretty open at the moment. You can go towards a lot of the just standard pickups, the Azir, the Orianna, those are going to work fine in this situation. You could also potentially grab yourself something a little bit tankier too, if you wanted
Something
to,
like a
something with a few
Karma
more
would also work
resistances.
really well.
Yeah, exactly. Something that can kind of just
Seraphine.
keep everybody else alive.
So Seraphine would work really well. A lot of the composition on Nativz is kind of running at you in a straight line.
Mm.
If you can buff up the Olaf and put down that Encore to just make the fight impossible. I do believe we are having a few delays with the draft, but I think we're going to load in rather quickly with all of the picks already locked in.
Yeah,
But
well,
I
suddenly
wonder
flash
what's
to
going
see
to be
what
the
the final pick.
R5.
Yeah, I mean, you are thinking that you need a mid laner. You do indeed.
Okay.
I quite like this. The Orianna did get locked in, as we highlighted, right? Something that can just survive through the majority of matchups, not have to worry too much. A bit of a neutralizer into this middle lane. But you get that pickup, and then the Veigar gets slammed straight afterwards.
Veigar
I like
Poppy.
it. Yeah.
Veigar Poppy combo. You don't have a wall, doesn't matter. There's the Veigar stun right there. He puts up the wall for you. As I do think the Nativz Academy comp it's good, but you really struggle dealing with an Olaf because all of your CC
Just
is
run
voided.
straight through you.
He can just run at you. You do have a lot of damage on the side of Nativz, which might be like your saving grace, where you get to just shred down the Olaf. And even though he does use the ultimate, it's just not going to be enough, basically. But on the side of Bulldogs, if you ever get run at, you have a Rel Orianna trying to make space, and then you have the possibility of a counter engage with the Cho'Gath and the Olaf already running at the enemy backline. The important thing is keeping Bloodlust alive on this Aphelios. We saw what he was able to do on the Twitch. Now on more standard hyper carry in the hyper carry
Yeah.
versus hyper carry matchup,
Mm.
we'll have to see how he fares in this situation.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense in this one. And I mean, as much as we are talking about, right? Yes, the Olaf should just be able to put you in a really good spot right here as tacos, and you could just kind of sprint through your opposition. At the same time, the Gwen can kind of just do the same thing, pretty much, in this game. And yes, it doesn't have the same level of just turn CC off, but the Hallowed Mist can stop a lot of that coming through as well, can just make it so difficult to try to deal with the Gwen. And so if the Gwen and the Olaf are both going to be very strong, very tanky in this game, that one is going to make it quite tricky to try to actually play this one out. Again, there's going to be a lot put on these top laners in this game, a lot put on the junglers here.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the onus of execution, yes, is going to end up on the top laners. I do think, at least on the side of Bulldogs, Faulty should be able to move a lot more from this mid lane, try to impact the plays. move together with with Taco and make something happen. Shockwave combo on top of you put the ball on the Olaf. The Olaf maybe just tries to find a window to run at somebody, with the slow coming through from the undertow and just trying to make something happen. Because
Yeah.
what you do lack on the side of Bulldogs is mobility.
Yes.
It's a lot of
Absolutely.
immobility.
It really is. We've got some very interesting compositions right here between these two teams, but we are going to have a small delay getting into game, so I think we're going to throw it to a short break. So grab some snacks, grab some water, and enjoy what is going to be the last game here between Bulldogs and Nativz to see who makes it into Division 1. Alrighty, welcome on back to this matchup here between Nativz and Bulldog. It is 1-1. We've got the draft in for the final game, and hopefully we're going to be able to jump into that one very quickly. This is everything for both of these teams, right? Nativz, they have been working on getting themselves up into Division 1 for a while, and for Bulldog, buying the slot up and immediately dropping down into Division 2 just isn't what they will have been wanting. It is so important for both of these orgs to win here.
Yeah, a win would cement Bulldog's place for another split in Division 1. A win for Nativz would bring them up to what has been an objective they seem to have been working for last, 2-3 splits almost.
Yeah.
So it would be the culmination point for Nativz. For Bulldog, it would just be managing to stay one for having a go one more time. But as we get into game, we can take a look at the first runes, a few changes. It is going to be Spellbook for point on the Veigar in the mid lane. I do think it is the correct choice. Not really looking for any laning runes on Veigar. You can take the Spellbook, you're just going to have more utility as the game goes on. Phase Rush for Shy, more understandable. PTA for Bloodlust instead of a Lethal Temp or Conqueror. This Aphelios wants to have control of the early laning phase. As we see here, Kakashi, Tacos, and Bloodlust.
Kakashi? That's quite aggressive right here. Oct is now going to arrive. Isn't quite going to be able to land a handshake. And now they might get a little bit collapsed upon Oct. And Moo, they just get immediately jumped right here. Moo going to have to flash over the wall, gets ignited as well. Is going to be able to walk away with his life. But still, that's a big summoner spell already lost. The heal also comes out of Oct.
Yep, only Ignite burnt on the side of Kakashi. But no Flashless Sivir. Yeah, and this early game is not going to be fun, considering you're playing into a rel that has such guaranteed ways to engage. You can just try and jump forward with the remount, remount flash auto, and just get the stun with the flip back. And Bloodlust, even though he did take damage, a lot of damage in those trades, has Red Gun, so he can just start slowly healing back up all of the HP he lost in the trade, because now they have just priority access to the wave.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be quite rough here for the Nativz bot lane to be able to get themselves back into a good spot. Obviously, with all of that action down in the bottom side of the map, we do also see Tacos start over in his enemy's jungle, is going to be able to steal away all three of these camps and head back down towards his own bottom side of the map. And this is going to open up a little bit of vertical jungling right here. It gives priority access to the top side of the map right here for Shy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You do want to get this Gwen ahead if you possibly can, but still, giving this Olaf the bot lane to really run amok on could be quite a good thing right here for Bulldogs.
Yeah, I mean, having the Olaf sit on the bot lane will probably be a boon on the side of Nativz, because you can never ever try to go aggressive. To be honest, this Olaf is not level 6, so his possibility to just void the CC and keep going is not as prevalent. But when you have a rel ready to set you up, it is going to be difficult. I do think a lot of this game is going to be on the shoulders of Shy, because this Poppy has the possibility to just kind of outpace the tempo of the game, especially with the early ganks, but it seems to be that they're just going full vertical jungling, going for a full clear, going back into their top side right now to just secure the last few camps. As you see here, Kakashi has a window to flank. There is no vision on the river on the side of Nativz. This could be another punish, trying to burn a few other summoners, or maybe even get a kill, as we see Bloodlust kind of just sitting on the wave,
He's trying to bait.
slowly pushing it up.
Yeah, but unfortunately for the bot lane of Bulldogs, Nativz, they smell a rat. They know that something is up right now that they don't necessarily want to get involved in and are just going to back off. It does mean it's a little bit of wasted time potentially right here for Tacos. He's just going to have to potentially even just head back to base right now. There's not really any camps available to him for a little while to be able to pick up. Instead, we are potentially seeing Shy going for a gank up on the top side. He is going to be spotted out onto Vision though, so everybody just going to be well aware of the opposition jungler's positions.
Tacos is just going to go for the respawn of camps in the bot side, as he is now going to try and take the walls. As Sharpie is currently getting ganked.
Wow.
Still has the flash available. A lot of damage come through from the snip step. Doesn't need to flash. The Poppy slams he slams the ground. Not enough damage, not enough lockdown. Sharpie just...
Still, being able to get that big chunk of damage out of Sharpie is going to force him back to base. Might well have to blow the teleport as well if he wants to get back any quicker, although there's not really a crashing wave. He can most likely just walk this one back off. No, actually, he is going to head back towards the lane, and he's going to have a little bit of a rough wave situation to try to deal with right here. So even though you don't get the flash, you do still burn a summoner spell away from Sharpie, so it works out for Shy, and the vertical jungling absolutely continues. Shy is still going to be taking all of the camps on the top side of the map, but at the moment, as we we said, right, it gives you access to the bot lane, which is good for Tacos, and it gives you access to this early Drake. This one going to be picked up nice and uncontested right here for Bulldog.
Yeah, the Aphelios having the possibility to move, of course, getting a little bit of an early laning phase lead thanks to the flashless Sivir. They have to respect the possibility of the engage, but you see here, Shai just using the top side to just keep on farming. There is a possibility to dive this Shogath. Poppy, one of those great champions at finding dives together with the Maokai currently in the meta. Just able to make the dives happen thanks to their innate tankiness and also, in the case of the Maokai, being able to reset the aggro is quite useful. But as the first rate goes down, I do think on the side of Nativz, you kind of want to keep this vertical jungling going. You can keep covering the Albany, you can get the early grubs that then will give you the side lane power later on in the game.
Yeah.
But I wonder if you're maybe giving too much agency to Bloodlust, but game's relatively even right now, so
Also, giving agency over to Bloodlust, I'd be worried after what happened in the previous game, right? The Aphelios is a different champion, of course, to the Twitch, different playstyles entirely, but still, he was able to completely take over the game. And if you're giving him a lot of agency right here, if you're allowing this guy to just sort of scale it up as you want to, not really have to worry too much about the way that these early laning phases are going, that's going to make it very easy to play the Aphelios later on.
yeah. You see, currently it's pretty much even. Both lady carries having a BF sword as we are in a very slight pause. Hopefully, we'll be back to late live game soon. But the game state is fine, I would say, for either side. You're getting leads where you want them. You're getting gold on the Gwen. If this Gwen gets any slight degree ahead, that Shogath doesn't really have a laning phase into her anymore. On the side of Bulldog, you're getting gold early into the pockets of the Aphelios, which is going to be the catalyst for you to try and play those skirmishes. Level first item Aphelios is quite powerful, as much as we think about him as an hyperscaler. That one item Yuntal is still going to be able to pack quite the punch.
Yes, absolutely. It is unfortunate that we have to jump into a quick pause right here. Hopefully, we do get the game back as quickly as possible. Once we know what's going on, we will, of course, let you know. But still, it just gives us a little bit of extra time to talk about the teams. And as you said, the lane state being relatively even, I don't think necessarily in this game really benefiting one team or the other so much. You've got quite a lot of good scalings on both of these squads right here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a hyper carry on each side. On one side, you do have a hyper tank. On the other side, you have a hyper side laner or a hyper carry, you could say in the Gwen. But on one side, you have a Veigar.
Yes.
Which is
Infinite
always
scaling,
going to
boy.
be a bane to deal with, especially when your composition has such low mobility. A cage really becomes difficult to deal with because you have no guaranteed ways of getting out of it. You don't have way to play around it if you just plays from outside of from fog, or you just kind of like uses it as an entry denial tool, like Victor W basically. As you see here, Taco's
Oh, hang
currently
on.
fighting Shy.
Okay, Shy. Just
It is
about.
going to be Tacos taking the
Yeah.
buff.
He's going to get away with his life, of course, but is going to lose out onto the buff. That's a pretty big buff to be missing out onto. You really don't want to have that happen. And this signals right here the end of that vertical jungling split that we had been seeing. Obviously, the bot lanes have now moved up towards the top side of the map, but I think that really unlocks Tacos here to step up to the top side of the map now. He now wants to be up here, and also they're able to pick up the first Drake for themselves. Well, now you can step up to the top side, have that be your side of the map, and potentially now go for the grubs and just really take over in terms of objectives.
I wonder if on the side of Nativz you just just put your foot down and you try to just take the fight around here. You do have this Veigar that's quite strong. You have this Gwen that's quite strong. Level 7, being able to have the Ghost and the ultimate, you can just run through the fight.
Yeah, but they're just not responding to it, are they? Bulldogs are just kind of getting free access right here. Tacos, once again, just going to be able to pick up this objective really uncontested.
You see here, farming pretty well in the mid lane. A lot of stacks already running on this Veigar, probably about a bonus 50 or 60 AP going already on the tiny Master of Evil. But on the laning state, are we looking for a possible dive onto the Cho'Gath? The point was starting to move down, but it seems like nothing's going to happen. Shai steals away the red buff. It is going to be vertical jungling. They just flip the map around.
Yeah, I thought we were potentially going to move away from it, but instead, Taco's very much just going to play on one side of the map. And I really like this, right? You move your bot lane up to the top side, you move your jungler up to the top side to take that objective, and then you can move it back down towards the bottom side of the map because there's now 1 minute 40 seconds until the next Drake is available. They can really just take over the game through these objectives like this. And I like the way that's worked out so far for Bulldogs. Now that they've been able to break the curse, they've been able to win a game that they were ahead in, able to win a game at all, I guess. Hopefully, they can show us that they could do it again right here. It would be so fun to see Bulldogs be able to pick themselves up another win. Obviously, it would be fun to see Nativz complete their task as well. So, we'll have to wait and see who can come out on top of this one. But great storylines either way.
See a little more trading happening in the top side. Full charge, snip forward from the Gwen. Really is the core of her laning phase. Just chipping down enemy until you can get that window to probably all in. But as we see here, Bulldog's bot lane trying to hold a freeze, but of course, the boomerang blade from the Sivir makes it really, really difficult to try and hold any freeze at any point. But nobody is getting scarily close to the execute threshold. But
Yeah.
as we see here, Taco's also here.
Taco's gonna arrive. Throws one of the axes forwards. Out comes the needlework, and at least the Hallowed Mist is going to stop that knockup from coming through, but you have to think this is going to be one dead Gwen. It is just going to be the Nom coming on through from Sharpie. That's going to be a nice stack onto a champion to be able to pick that one up. And there's still 20 seconds until the Drake respawns, so you can either push this lane if you want as Tacos, or you can head back to base, head back down into the bottom side of the map, and potentially look to keep playing. The response is going to be a potential gank right here out of Shy. Point is also on his way in. Shy gets a little bit of the flank. Hostile takeover lands onto Bloodlust, and that's going to pull him way out of position. It's going to be one dead Aphelios. Teleport's coming in now, though. The top laner's looking to come and get involved as well. Sharpie arrives, and you're on the wrong side of the map there, buddy boy. Just going to have to turn tail and run immediately, but this is going to be a dead Cho'Gath, and that's going to be a one team fight right here for Nativz.
Yep, Nativz pick up 2 kills for themselves. Both of them go on to the Poppy, which is not the greatest. But still, that's 2 kills, that's tempo, that's probably going to be the Drake going down. And is Faulty overextending? Point has the ghost, runs forward, and Faulty's forced to flash out.
Yeah, that's rough. To lose your flash on the back end of a fight your teammates have already lost, and this is now going to be the first Drake the Nativz are going to be able to pick up for themselves. They even up the Drake score 1-1. They've got themselves a tiny little 100 gold lead or so. It's basically dead even here 11 minutes into this game. And as much as we're talking about compositions and how there's decent scalings on both sides, when it comes to just late game play, Bulldogs have not proven to me yet, even with that win in the previous game, that they know how to play through a mid to late game, and they know how to close out games easily and effectively. They really need big early advantages to be able to do so. We saw it in the previous game, right? Even with a massive lead, they still nearly managed to lose that game. So I want to see more from Bulldogs in the early stages of this one. Ocht stepping up towards Kakashi. Dalbany is going to arrive as well, but Tacos is here, and this could be a disaster right here for the Bulldogs members. Ocht just going to get taken down, heads into a little bit of more health. Not going to be able to survive with this one. Shy now also going to be forced to turn away from this one.
4 members against 3.
Yeah,
you don't
the collapse
really
is just
wanna take the
quicker.
fight. Yeah, but Ocht also not having the ult going for the fight. I do think you had the Gwen with you. The Gwen has access to the needlework, but it's just really difficult to fight without that hostile takeovers. Renata, really strong champion. As soon as anybody tries to dive into you, you do use that. You can use that ultimate to try and turn it around. But on the other hand, there's also a possibility of an Olaf just voiding the CC and still running at you. But fighting without it at all, it's a choice.
Yes, it really, really is, and we'll see if they're going to make that decision once again as we get into a few more fights. We've got a while until we've got too many more big objectives spawning. There will obviously be a Herald to potentially play around, and we've seen that both of these teams are very happy to fight, constantly looking for these aggressive plays. Point actually manages to use the baby cage effectively to stop this little bit of engage. Kakashi and Faulty just going to have to turn tail and run right here. They should be able to get away, just health bars being traded and nothing too much more. But as we get 30 minutes into this game, we've got first items coming through and a couple components as well. Nothing too interesting coming through. Strybreaker going to be completed for Tacos, so he's going to be so tricky to get away from once he just pops that ulti and runs at people.
What I would say is quite interesting is the Proto Belt completed on. This is a very aggressive Veigar. This is going to try and look to make plays happen. But as you see here, Shai looking for a possible invade, but Kachi's there together with Taco. Try and deny the access, but the vision that's being put down and currently challenged, trying to lay up for this possible Drake fight in 2 minutes. But I feel like on the side of Nativz, you have this very clear win con, which is your side lane.
Yes.
Veigar plus Gwen later on the side are going to be really difficult to play around, really difficult to match on the side of Bulldog. And yet it still feels
point.
like we're not really playing for it, as we see the shockwave goes down to point.
Oh, good flash from point that he's just about able to get himself away. You can see there was also a little bit of a skirmish there between Shy and Tacos. That's also not going to result in a kill, but point losing out onto the flash. That's a really big cooldown for him. 5 minutes now, he's just super vulnerable. And also, Moo, I don't know that you can actually step up here. This tower going incredibly low. Bloodlust deciding not to actually hit the tower. They're instead going to go for this dive. Moo trying his best to use the Fancy V is just going to get taken down. And Kakashi survives as well, and we pan towards topside, and that's 2 kills as well for Bulldog. All of a sudden, they grab themselves 3 quick kills off the back of nothing.
And the skirmish power on the side of Bulldog right now is just more. The Olaf still had the ultimate available, still hadn't used it at all this game, and he just, as soon as he does, he just pulls the trigger on Shy and Oct, and they neither of them have enough tools to get this Olaf off of them. You do not have a Jarvan, you don't have something that can just create the space, you don't have a dash that can make you buy enough space between you and the Raging Barbarian. It's just really, really difficult for these fights to take place on the side of Nativz right now. You do need the Gwen to try and just shred down all of these high health bars. And yet the Gwen is locked in this matchup.
Haven't been able to escape. Just constantly sat in the top side trading damage with Sharpie, right? But Sharpie's absolutely fine. Now that you've got that Hollow Radiance, there's the little bit of the combo that we were talking about. Doesn't really result in anything. Kakashi, not exactly who you're looking to pick up right now. Still, Nativz are potentially going to look for this play. Bloodlust turns and runs. Hostile takeover is going to tag onto both of them, and that might be the go button needed. Kakashi is just going to get caught out and taken down. And Bloodlust now running up towards a Gwen. Dalbany in the area as well. And that's going to be 2 quick kills grabbed. Slightly longer kills grabbed right here by Nativz. And with that win, they're going to be able to turn around and pick themselves up this Herald as well.
That's also both sums gone from the Bulldog AD carry. Such an easier catch to make now. And on the side of Nativz, you're just going to try and use this pressure to get this tier 1 turret. But Taco is now here. He has the ultimate available. Uses the undertow onto the wave to just try and clear it out. It chunks it down enough that the Stridebreaker is able to pick it up. But look at the wave clear coming through from the Sivir. The wave is already gone.
Yeah.
The push just keeps on going
It's
on
insane.
the side of Nativz. Like this Nativz comp, if anything, they can do one thing really well, which is depush, which is hold the siege, hold the push. Just make it so that the game is not really determined by the tempo of your adversary. You can define the tempo of this game on your own. But as we see here, this is going to be Feats of Monster Slaying secured on the side of Bulldog. They already had the Feats of Warfare completed, but
yeah, why not? Get yourself that little bit of extra. Bulldog are in control of this game. Still, they're only going to be up by about 1,000 gold. And a lot of that right now is going to be sat on 2 key members. It's going to be sat on Tacos. And then it's also going to be sat down in the bottom lane as well onto Bloodlust. Nativz, they've got a little bit more of a spread of gold. Obviously, we are jumping into another quick pause. Hopefully, it's going to be nice and quick once again. Still, though, we keep pausing at very interesting times just after a lot of things have happened. The fact that you were still able to pick yourself up that Drake right there as Bulldogs is really key for them, I think. They need to get this Drake stacking going. That's one of their key win conditions for making this one work, just because that late game scaling really is going to be in the favor right here of Nativz.
Yep, I mean, Bulldog have the gold, as you were saying, where they need it right now. You want the Olaf to be ahead of the tempo because you want him to be leading the line, being able to run at somebody without the threat of just being blown up. As we get back into the game, we can see that he is already itemizing towards that Sundered Sky second item to just give him that burst of healing whenever they try to take a fight. While currently the AD carries, one is itemizing towards an Infinity Edge, and the other is itemizing towards a Navori Quick Blade, Flicker Blade.
Yeah, a little bit of extra, just straight up available damage going to be going down over onto Bloodlust, and hey, he's played really, really well so far in this series. Been a little bit of a bright spot for them, even in their loss in game number 1. Volti Tries for the kill right there onto point. Just about going to be able to get away with the Rocket Belt. Rocket Belt onto the Vega. Not something I see too much in my games. I can understand why you'd want it in this game. I mean, saves his life right there. We'll see what the next couple of items will be. Obviously, looking like it's going to be a Death Cap as the second pickup. I love this build. This build's whack.
This is the Vagar gaming, Vagar hours, like truly Vagar hours. I feel like
Yeah.
you're going Death Cap immediately to just maximize the value because you're getting it from those extra stacks from the passive. Well, everybody else is currently like on that 1.5 item trough. You know, you have the locket coming through for one support, while the other support is still currently in the process of building it because they decided to defensive boots. And you know, the both of these junglers are currently itemizing towards the second itemizing towards the second item. So as we said, it's probably going to be the Sundered Sky coming through from Tacos, while it's probably going to be the Deadman's Plate coming through from Shy. One of those, you know, key items on the Poppy that we almost sometimes we just see rushed as a first item just because it gives you so many more windows to try and find the engage. But here Oct and Moo might
Oh.
just be caught out. The undertow lands. The
And
fight
Osh's
begins.
going to take a huge chunk of damage. It's just going to get immediately run through, even though the ulti still comes through. The hostile takeover just isn't going to save anybody. There's going to at least finally be a primordial burst to pick that one up. I mean,
He'll trade back after the TP.
you got to
but
get
we-
something in that one. Otherwise, it's a complete disaster.
Yeah, but we are seeing the value of having the lead on Taco. This Olaf is able to do so much. You saw the Renata try to lay down the ultimate, try to make space.
Just doesn't
Olaf
happen.
doesn't care.
No, he just
Olaf
runs
don't-
straight at you. I mean, infinitely, and it's so tricky to deal with, and that's just going to keep getting worse and worse as we get later on into this game, isn't it?
Yeah, as soon as long as this Olaf is ahead of the tempo, as long as this Olaf has enough items that he can withstand the damage coming through, he is going to be fine. Because now he has the Sundered Sky that adds that burst of healing whenever he auto attacks the champion every 6 seconds, of course. But it's still going to add to the utility of the power of this champion because he's going to be able to pop the ultimate, press the W, get the extra shielding, use his lifesteal passive to just keep healing up as soon as he hits anything, and then you add that burst of healing, the extra HP that also it gives you if you do not have the possibility to get healed as if you are full HP. It just makes this Olaf so much harder to deal with. I would assume he's probably going to go towards a Sterex or what's the item? Overload's Bloodmail, third item, as it currently seems to be the build. But as the
Alright.
Atakan is getting started up here on the side of Bulldogs.
Kakashi,
can-
that's mistimed. He's going to be able to walk this one away still. The Atakan going very low, down by low at 3,000.
Ooh.
Shy is in the area. Shy is just going to walk up, not quite able to steal that one away. Did he not
How?
have smite? Shy doesn't have
He had
smite.
smite. He
He
smote.
smoked too early. Oh,
no,
that's so
he
unfortunate.
smote a champion.
Oh, did he? I missed that. Ay. That's unfortunate. That's not ideal. Still, Bloodlust picks it up. That's good.
Yeah.
Bulldog, they get away with murder right there. That should have been a complete and utter disaster for them. Instead, they are now going to get jumped. It's just going to be the flash away from Kakashi. And now Nativz, they're going to push back, get themselves a tier 1 tower. They at least get away with this with a little bit of an injection of gold. Still, look mid lane. They're now going to miss out onto this mid lane tier 1 tower. And so back and forth plays result in another bit of a Bulldog advantage. And Shy, come on, man, you can't do that in the promotion relegation game, the final one here.
I mean, maybe it's a bit of the nerves. It makes a bit of the shakes coming through. But as the Drake is coming up in the next 30 seconds, a lot of resources were used on the side of Nativz to try and make the chase happen. Oct now gets tagged by the Calibrum. He's going to be half HP as the fight
hang on.
begins.
Taco's just gonna start running through, kids. Gets a huge chunk of damage done, but you can see the healing coming through right here. Gonna be able to survive. The ulti does wear off, so the big threat is now gonna be done right here for Bulldogs. But you can see Bloodlust still stepping up, buying a little bit more space with the rest of his team. And this is gonna buy them plenty of time to go and start up this Drake. Shy is in the area, does have Smite available, does have Flash, but is no real access into the pit. And this is gonna be Soul Point right here for Bulldog.
Yeah, Bulldog fighting over at the Soul Point. Another catch coming through from Tacos. Tacos has been excellent almost all series actually. Even on the Wukong in game 1, he was always trying to find the window of engage. He was always finding ways to disrupt the fight even in the backline. was one of the main reasons Game 2 went in such a dominant way on the side of Bulldogs as long as it. The Volibear able to find the skirmishes, being able to bring himself ahead and just keep the fight going every single time. Now, we saw what Veigar on 2 items was able to deal to him in terms of damage. So I do want you probably will start to itemize into some magic resist.
Like you're gonna have to at some point right here. Tacos is gonna be able to pick up the scuttle, but now gets jumped. Still Sharpie in the area, and unfortunately for the members of Nativz right now, Sharpie does quite a lot of damage. He's gonna jump forwards, nom away, picks up that second kill, and now the remaining members of Nativz are gonna have to turn tail and run. But there's a flank coming through from the bot lane. Hostile takeover, barely doing anything at this point, and here comes Kakashi, gonna be able to pick up that initial kill right here. Moo goes down, Point gonna follow as well. Actually does manage to get the bailout off, but it's just not going to be enough. Ace right here for Bulldog.
It's a 5-for-1 over a scuttle crab. This is truly Cloud9 gaming. We're fighting over a scuttle. We lose the scuttle, immediately engage onto the enemy, and it's an Olaf. Why are
Yeah.
with
a Cho'Gath stood next to him.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not quite sure what the point of that engage was, but you can tell that Nativz' nerves is like shaking. They're trying everything. They're going for every single fight. Shy, after having such a great performance in Game 1 onto the Maokai, Game 2 was really shaky onto the Lilia. Finds a good fight around the Baron, but that's about it, really. That's the one highlight that comes through from Game 2.
Absolutely.
And now in this game on the Poppy, they have the combo, they have the possibility of the catch, but he's just getting zoned out by the enemy.
Bloodlust. Yeah, Bloodlust just stepping up right here. Even once he gets knocked into the wall, he's just going to be able to cleanse that away. Flashes out too and picks up this kill, and now they can turn around. Once you've got Taco in the area, the damage just coming through. Oct jumps into the bailout, isn't quite going to be able to get the kill onto Tacos for the revive, and that's 2 quick kills picked up by Bulldog.
Yeah, this is Bulldog just using their lead great. Like, Tacos is leading the line right now. I feel like we're harping on this player a lot, but there's a reason why we are. This guy is just having a great Game 3. On the Olaf, he's just able to find the windows to fight. He is able to just punish every single overextension.
You highlighted it, Harold. In the draft phase, you were like, the second that Olaf was locked, you were like, oh boy, how do they deal with him? What do they do?
Yeah.
And so far the answer has been die. There's none. They have absolutely no answers at this point. 8-0-5.
Pretty much. To be honest, there is going to be a point where this Veigar is going to be able to burst them down, even through MR, even through all the shielding, just because that's the nature of Veigar.
Yeah.
But
we're
that
not there
point
yet.
is going to wait 10 minutes
Yeah.
or something around those timers. The Void Step is probably now going to come through, or the seems to be maybe Crypt Bloom with the glowing mode in inventory, probably going to be towards that as we see the Shockwave.
Oh no, Point tries to jump forwards, thinks that he can maybe get a quick kill onto Faulty, but it's immediately going to go wrong. And 3 members fall right here for Nativz, including the jungler. That 25 minutes into the game is going to spell Baron right here for Bulldogs. And Nativz, they are just throwing away another chance at getting promoted into Division 1.
Throwing it away all down, it feels to nerves. They're like trying to find windows, to find and engage, to try something. And you're still engaging on the Olaf instead of the Aphelios that has no sums. Or you're just trying to force a fight in a window where you don't have information where the enemy support is or where the enemy jungler is. You know the mid laner's there, and that's it. And you're still trying to force the fight. Now there's a 10k gold lead on the side of Bulldog. Now, we saw what happened Game 2.
Yeah.
But
hey,
this feels different.
They won that one. The curse is broken. The massive gold lead into throw game is no more for Bulldog, surely. I mean, right now, it might exactly be true. Point has to just flash straight over this wall. That's a key cooldown once again, just off of the board. And Nativz, they can't breathe in this game. They've just been bashed around in this one so heavily. The push comes through from Nativz into the mid lane. They're at least trying to get something done. But the members of Bulldog arrive to cut that push off very, very quickly.
The Keeper's Verdict knocks out the Cho'Gath.
Oh, but a
Whoa.
huge shockwave lands straight into the ulti right here out of Bloodlust, and this team fight just immediately goes wrong. Nativz, they lose all of their members in an instant. Yes, there's an available dragon, but right here, Bulldog, they could just push forwards towards the base.
There's no keepers right available. Shy can't do anything to stop the wave clear. Bulldog can just use the Cho'Gath as the bigger minion and just tank the entire turrets. This is Bulldog staking their claim into Division 1. This is going to be game and series over.
I cannot believe that Bulldogs have managed to do this. They had lost 11 games in a row, winless in Division 1, winless in the first day of the promotion relegation, but here, at the last stand, at the last available moment for Bulldogs to be able to do it, they do. 2-1 versus Nativz. Bulldogs keep their spot in Division 1.
Bravo, Bulldogs. Honestly, not much else to say. Well, game 2, we had a lot of words to say. We had a lot of things to say where you almost fell down, but then
Yeah.
going to game 3, clean game,
That was
excellent
so clean.
performance coming through. As much as I've harped on the jungler and Tacos playing an excellent game, the Sharpie on the Cho'Gath just being able to make it against so
Yeah.
much pressure. Faulty in the mid lane. That last shockwave
That was
just won the
gorgeous.
game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that was
Bloodlust.
so nice.
Bloodlust, just bravo. An excellent performance every single game. From game 1 to game 3, just very consistently the best player on the side of Bulldog. And Kakashi, of course, had a few blunders game 1, but game 2 and 3 really turned up.
Really, really solid. And man, you got to feel right here for Nativz. This is another split where they have come so tantalizingly close to being able to promote themselves into Division 1, and they just can't quite scrape it once again. A single game away. Some brilliant performances from a couple of their members. I think Dalbany was particularly fun to watch, especially on those games we had last week on Monday. Still, though, it just didn't quite work out for them. It's gonna have to be back to the drawing board once again, back to Division 2. They should take a lot of heart. They had a really good season for themselves right here in Division 2. We hope to see them back again for the next split and hopefully back in these promotion relegations, but heartbreaking to come so close and just miss out.
So close and yet so far, because at the end of the day, it wasn't really, you were one Nexus off and you weren't quite able to close out game 2 or game 3. But again, congratulations to Bulldogs and commiserations to the side of Nativz, as I do believe that is all for us today.
Yeah, that should do it. That should do it for us. That officially rounds out spring. This is the last time that you're going to see that little spring 25 in the top right-hand corner. It's going to be summer next, and I'll be honest, we are real close to starting off on summer. If I look over at my calendar right here, we've got like just over a week or so before we are heading into the next split. Summer as well. Huge stakes on the line, right? You've got RPS coming up at the end of summer. You've got another, hopefully, live finals to go to if you can make it all the way to top. We'll see if Bulldog are going to be able to have a better split for themselves. Either way, thank you all very, very much for watching. Thank you so much to Zoe, Casual Cutie, for pulling us through this one. There are a few tech issues on the back end, but absolute legend to pull us through. Thank you, Harold, for dealing with me attempting to play-by-play.
Well, thank you, Bloxer, for being such a gracious play-by-play and letting me yap about Gangplank for about 25 minutes after the game was done.
Hey, it made my job a heck of a lot easier. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. That'll do it for us on the Four Nations here for spring. We'll see you in summer in a couple of weeks. Goodbye.